Okay, we're gonna play a game. The Watchmen alignment game. Now, I'm a pretty big Dungeons & Dragons player, and I want to just see if I could come up with an example of each alignment from the comic Watchmen, and that's how this video came about. Now, you might not agree with me, and I'll probably lose most of you with my first choice, so if you agree or disagree, feel free to comment. But anyway, let's get to it. Okay, this one might take the most explaining. You see, with all the alignments, there's always a little bit of wiggle room in how they're perceived, how they're played. There's two ways to play lawful good. You can either be the nice guy that helps everyone out, the stay in school, drink your milk, kind of thing. Or you could be the lunatic or the asshole that lets no one have fun and gets violent when people step out of line. I think Rorschach falls under the later. A lot of people say he's chaotic when he's not. He is very lawful. He has his own twisted interpretation of good and evil, but he abides by that to the letter. He never compromises, not even in the face of Armageddon, as it says in the subgame. So yes, I say Rorschach, lawful good, even if it's very loosely. Night Owl I list as neutral good because he's basically just, a good guy trying to do his best in confusing times. He wants to obey the law, but more times than not the law is working against him. Be it the Keene Act, be it, Rorschach's imprisonment. Night Owl basically is the good guy in confusing times. And he really is adaptable if you really think about it. He's able to adapt to whatever he needs to be, whatever the times call for, and hence neutral good. He's neither too lawful nor too chaotic. The Silk Spectre I list as chaotic good because she always seems to be rebelling against some status quo. Be it her mother, be it the Keene Act, be it something like America's views on Polish Americans, and God, even, John and Janie's relationship. She home-wrecked Dr. Manhattan. I tried finding a character for lawful neutral, but there's really no better example than the New Frontiersmen. Their worldview isn't exactly what one would call moral per se. They do kind of defend the Klan. But they have their own ideals, and they are fiercely dedicated to them. They've got their own code of conduct, and by God, if they're not going to abide by it. Some people argue that Dr. Manhattan is lawful neutral. No, he's not. Simply put, he is the epitome of true neutral. He has no connections to any law or faction or belief system. He is driven by both logic and what little passions he has. So, really, he is, like I said, the walking epitome of true neutral. He's not good, he's not evil, he's Dr. Manhattan. If Dr. Manhattan is the epitome of true neutral, the comedian is definitely the epitome of chaotic neutral. He does a lot of nasty shit in the story, but still has enough of a soul to realize what's right and what's wrong, what's truly appalling. He's aware that his actions are wrong, they're just not as wrong as what Ozymandias is doing, or what Dr. Manhattan is doing by not doing anything. He has his own worldview, he has very few allegiances, and it really is. He's probably the most fascinating character in the book, and the best example of chaotic neutral I've ever seen. Okay, this is the one most people will disagree with me on. Ozymandias, whether or not he's evil, really comes down to whether or not you believe the ends justify the means. Ozymandias killed 1 million people in New York, and if you've seen the film, a couple other cities. That's not a good act. Yeah, he did it to stop wars and save the world, but he killed 1 million innocent people. Now, one of the best examples of lawful evil is Darth Vader. When he was Anakin Skywalker, he wanted to experiment with the Sith Force magic stuff to save Padme, save the love of his life. And he went along with the Empire because Palpatine seemed like a very wise man to him. Palpatine said he was going to bring order back to the universe and stop the Clone Wars. So, and then he became Darth Vader and like choked people and shit. But in his mind, he is just keeping order in the galaxy. And by that comparison, I have to say that Ozymandias falls under the umbrella of lawful evil. Richard Nixon is, in his own right, a very important character in the Watchmen, kind of symbolizing America at the time of the superhero. Other than that, if you've read a history book, do I even really need to explain? Big Figure killed Larry. Really, Big Figure is the only character in the Watchmen that's really close to chaotic evil. I mean, most of them either are neutral or have some sort of motivation. I mean, he is really the only true evil character. God, even Moloch was, I mean, he's looking for redemption. He's probably more along the neutral lines. Or, yeah, just neutral just because he's not evil anymore. But yeah, Big Figure's still a dick. So, yeah, that was my attempt to put the characters of the Watchmen on some sort of alignment scale, and if you agree or disagree, feel free to comment or reply or video response or something. Anyway, till next time.